Hey, welcome to the podcast Domination Show, where we help you launch, grow, monetize, and dominate the podcasting space. This is a show where we believe that if you can get attention with your podcast, you can influence someone. And if you can influence someone, you can get them to take massive action. And if you can get someone to do that, you, my friend, can dominate. I'm Luis Diaz, your host and founder of Podcast Domination, and I'm your guide. Let's go. Hey, so I know you're probably wondering, why is Luis interrupting his own podcast? Well, guess what? I have a little secret for you. And I'm not going to whisper this entire commercial, but I just wrote a book called How to Get 100,000 Downloads in 100 Days, and I want to give it to you for free. Now, this book is going to be on sale on Amazon probably for about $20 or $30, we'll see. But I want to give it to you for free because you are listening to this episode and this podcast, and I appreciate that very, very dearly. So all you have to do to get a free book, a free copy of my book, a physical book if you're in the US, and if you're in the outside of the US, then I will give you a free Audible book version and a free Kindle or ebook version as well. Okay, so here are the steps. Ready? All you have to do is leave a review in the iTunes store for the podcast. If you think it's worthy of 5 stars, I really appreciate it, but I value honest feedback. So leave a review, screenshot it, and tag me on Instagram. My handle is @LuisRyanDiaz, LuisRyanDiaz. Tag me with the book review, and then I'll DM you, or someone from my team will DM you, to ask for your address, and I will send you a copy of my book. Maybe write a little note in there to say thank you, and we'll go from there. So if that sounds good to you, leave a review, and I'll see you on Instagram. Thanks. Now back to the show.
What is going on, my friend? Welcome back. Today we are talking about the 3 things you can do to make your podcast instantly stand out from the crowd. It is getting crowded in podcasting. Everyone and their mothers are starting a podcast. Even my sister is starting a podcast, right? So this episode is going to teach you some behind the scenes tricks I've taught her, and some things you can apply to your show today to grow your show and stand out and not look like a Me Too show. So let's hit it. All right. What is going on, my friend? Welcome back to the Podcast Domination Show, the show where I help you launch, grow, dominate, and monetize. Something in that order. I may have got that order messed up, but anyways, you get the point. I'm Luis Diaz, your host, Luis Ryan Diaz. I guess I should probably say my full name on this. And today we're talking about 3 things you can do to make your show stand out, because I see so many shows and they all sound the freaking same. And it really annoys the hell out of me, honestly, guys. I'm going to give you one resource, too, that I think is a guy who's doing it right. He's crushing it, and you can tell by he's getting paid probably a good amount from sponsors, and his show is just blown up in the last year. A couple of my clients have had him on, and I'm always impressed when he comes on shows. Just love his level of attention. I think you can really pick up on. But anyways, we'll get to that later. Let's get right into it, though. So number one thing you can do to instantly stand out, and this is something I've talked about in past episodes in intent-based podcasting. So if you haven't listened to the intent-based podcasting episode, I suggest you go back, listen to that. That is the blueprint. For God's sakes, if you start a podcast before listening to that episode, you're leaving a lot of wisdom and a lot of skills and probably a lot of downloads on the table. So go back and listen to that episode. But step number one is focusing on a super tight niche and also their outcome. So it's one thing to focus on a certain demographic. It's another thing to look into the psychology and look into what the hell they're actually looking for and wanting, right? So when someone clicks on your show, what do they want to get out of it? That's the question you need to ask, and that's the question your show needs to answer. So looking at the outcomes, the big, hairy, audacious outcomes that your audience wants. If you look at copywriting, sometimes copywriting is really over the top. And the funny thing is, though, like even in like, it's funny because Dan Kennedy talks about this in his book, Magnetic Marketing. Sometimes the most audacious copy you think would never work on professional crowds works really well. And that just speaks to the fact that we're all human and the fact that we all want things. And sometimes we're just afraid to really voice our opinions and say, hey, I really, really want this. So really speaking to, if your podcast speaks to that big audacious outcome, that big goal your audience wants, and not dangling the carrot, I say, but like really just putting it out there and saying like, this show is to get you X, Y, and Z. Like we're not going for small here. So I think it's good to have an idea of your demographic and your target audience, but it's another thing. It'll make your show stand out if you can clearly lay out the big outcome that they're going to get from listening to this show. Like for me, when you listen to this show, I really literally want you all to have 6-figure downloads a month. Meaning my goal in my agency is to be responsible for over 1 million downloads per month. That's a lot of people we're affecting. It's a lot of ears we're listening. We've got listening to us. We've got, that's a lot of people we're impacting. So for me, that's my goal. So for you listening to this show, I want you to be over 6 figures in downloads a month. Because with those kind of downloads, you can monetize it. You can get advertising dollars. You can impact a lot of friggin' people. If you're saying the right stuff on your show, you've got a lot of influence, a lot of weight to your name. So for me, that's really exciting. So this is a show, that's my hairy, audacious outcome. That's the thing. When you come here, you're going to come to get, 6 figures in downloads and beyond, right? Per month, by the way, not per freaking year. So number one, have a very clear outcome that's centered around your listener. It's one thing to know your listener, but it's another thing to know their big, hairy, audacious goals. All right. That's number one. Number two is to use segments. So using segments, what I mean by this is if you listen to social media marketing world or social media marketer, just type in Mike Stelzner, Stelzner. Yeah, Stelzner. Yeah, I think I'm saying that right. But look up Mike Stelzner, his show, Social Media Marketer. He does a really good job with this, right? So he'll have a tool of the week segment, which is basically another guy comes on and he talks about one really cool tool that marketers can use to improve their social media game. And as a social media marketer myself, I love that segment. I love tools. Most marketers love tools. So you can have a segment like that that's maybe tool of the week, tip of the week, recipe of the week. It could be Bible verse of the week, whatever you want it to be, whatever your show's about, or like deal of the week. Maybe you bring on an affiliate sponsor and you can charge for that and you can make money on the back end from the affiliate sales. See where I'm going here? Whatever that could be. It could be a lot of different things in your depending on your niche. Using segments like that, I think is something that's not used enough. Maybe it's just too hard. I don't think it's that hard, honestly, but maybe people are just too lazy. But if you start using segments and like giving away very consumable, tactical, tangible things your audience can use, I know it's going to work for you. It's going to make your show stand out from all the other ones that are just interviewing the same fucking names, the same people you see on all the other podcasts, right? So that's number two. Number three is show formats. So earlier I talked about a guy, and his name is Tom Bilyeu from Impact Theory, who does a really good job with his podcast. One of the things he does well is he manages his show formats well, meaning he will have a very in-depth interview, then he'll have a review session, like an after impact episode, then he'll have like a motivational 2-3 minute episode, then he'll have an AMA. So these are all shifting formats. They cater to different people, meaning he's able to hit every segment of his audience with some kind of content. It's not always an interview. It's not always a little teaching session. It's not always an AMA. It's a lot of different stuff. And I look at this and like, as I'm saying this, I'm like thinking to myself, I need to have more variation in my content, right? So I might just start to bring on some more experts and just let them like go crazy and rip without me being here, right? So show formats in a nutshell is something you can vary. So AMAs, I think three easiest ones to do were the interview format, AMA, and then review shows. So like after your guest comes on, you can do a review and just kind of condense the content down to like the 3 things you learn from them, right? So that's just some ideas there for show formats. So those are the 3. I'm going to give you one bonus one because you deserve it, and you stuck with me for what is 8-9 minutes. So this is one you can do if you've got a friend in your niche, and he or she is really knowledgeable. You can invite them on. You're not on the show. Maybe you're on vacation. Maybe you're in Bali. Maybe you're in Hawaii or something. Surfing, whatever the case may be. You invite them on, they record a show, and they do a takeover. So they are the hosts. They're the guest hosts of the show. Now, this is pretty cool because it's a new voice. It's a new style. It's a new set. It's a new look on things, new knowledge typically. So especially if they have maybe they're promoting a book or they are on tour or they're launching something, they would definitely be pumped to come and share with your audience. So I think Tim Ferriss has done this a few times where he's had like a guest like Jocko Willink on, and it's just Jocko answering questions from Tim's audience. You can model that format and do a takeover episode. You can swap with other podcasters and do a takeover episode, whatever it may be. But that is a bonus one, takeover episodes. It's another format, but I think it's not used enough. So that's a great way. I've seen people do it on YouTube or on Instagram where they take over a channel for a day. And I don't see why it cannot be used on podcasts more. So that's it, my friend. Don't forget, go to facebook.com and go to the podcast Domination VIP Inner Circle. And let's connect there. We'll go from there. If I can help you, great. If not, just stick around the group and sure I'll do something interesting or funny or stupid that'll make you laugh. So until then, I'll catch you later and I'll see you in the group. Oh, and last thing here before I forget. The next episode is going to be on the 5 immutable laws of profitable podcasting. I stayed up all night pretty much last night making this episode, prepping for this episode. I'm super pumped to share it with you. So keep listening to the next episode next week or the next one drops. I'm not sure when this is coming out, but the next one is the 5 laws of profitable podcasting. And I know you're going to like it. So stick around. I'll see you then.
Hey, what's up? Lewis again, and I get asked this question a lot, so I wanted to answer it here for you in a unique manner. And that question is, Lewis, what exactly do you do? How do you help podcasters? What exactly do you and what does Podcast Domination really help with? Well, instead of me sitting here and telling you all the amazing stuff about us, I thought it'd be fun and interesting for you guys to hear what our clients are saying. So here you go. Please enjoy.
Lewis literally makes my life so much easier. All I have to do is record my content. I don't have to worry about editing it. I don't have to worry about writing show notes. I don't have to create any of my graphics to promote it. He literally does everything for me.
We hired Lewis to kind of help us set up the podcast, for us to put our content out and kind of grow our brand. And all I really have to say, it's been a huge success. It's been really easy. Lewis and his whole team have made the whole process easy from setting it up originally, which with podcasts is kind of intimidating, and there's a lot of things that if you don't know a lot about the platform, that it's very time consuming. So Lewis made all of that easy.
In the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, I was completely overwhelmed, confused, stressed out, because I went on YouTube trying to figure out how to set up a successful podcast. And actually going on YouTube, I was just bombarded by so much information that I just wanted to give up on the idea. And then I met a good friend of ours that introduced me to Lewis, and we hit it off. And he just said to me, it's really, really simple. I will take care of everything for you. I think what Lewis has done for me has made it seem so painless. He has took my idea and saved me money. He saved me time and energy. And more importantly, he's made my Persistence Factor podcast sound professional.
Well, I hope you enjoyed those sound bites as much as I enjoyed putting them together. If you have any questions about how we can help you grow, launch, or further your podcasting efforts, feel free to reach out to me at Lewis at Podcast Domination, or you can reach out to my team and ask them some questions. Hello at podcastdomination.co. Both are .co. Just make sure that's, keep that in mind. Anyways, I'll see you on the next episode. And until next time, keep dominating.